Hey guys, I just emailed you the code in the Google Groups. Ali, I was answering your question in regard to um, showing you how to display each negative positive number, all the rest. I thought I'd make a video just to explain a little bit, especially since we are going to go into loops. So I sent you this code. My guess is you'll make it through some of it, but not all of it. So let me see if I can do a quick explanation of it as we go along. The first thing is hopefully you guys feel comfortable declaring variables now. These variables that I'm showing you in here that I've highlighted, those are just things I'm going to use later. So I believe you guys have done a couple things like that. I've seen some in your code, so hopefully you're feeling more comfortable with that. The more important part is loops. Now loops are really, really powerful. You'll find that the stuff you guys are doing in chapter 2 is really repetitive and kind of boring, and I realize that, and that point came across to you guys as I wrote in the discussion board. Ideally, when you know more Java, you won't do it like you're doing. You'll do it much easier, and as I sarcastically posted in the Google group, when you find out how to do loops, you're going to want to kill me because you'll realize how much easier things are with loops. But it takes a little while to learn the code. So let me explain what I did here. The hardest part is just this loop right here, and that's why I commented in what it was doing. So this loop is called a for loop. It has 3 parts. First, you declare an integer variable. This is called the Boolean statement, and a Boolean statement is either true or false. And then this part is the last part, that's the iterator. Okay, so let me start from the beginning. The beginning for int I equals 0, it is the same thing essentially as I write up here, int I equals 0. There's no difference in code putting it inside the for loop and putting it out here, except they act a little different. But you feel comfortable hopefully declaring variables like int pos count equals 0. So int I equals 0, it's just a variable I that equals 0, and we're going to use it within the loop. So that part is step 1. Okay. Step 2 is always going to come back to this middle statement, the Boolean statement, and I want you to ask yourself, is this true? So you say, is I less than 5? In this case, I is currently 0 because you said int I equals 0. Is I less than 5? Yes, it is. As long as this Boolean statement, this middle statement is true, that means do everything in between the curly braces of the loop. So the starting curly braces here, the ending curly braces down here. So that is this chunk. That means do this whole chunk. Okay? So as we go through this chunk, this is basically what you've already been doing. You've declared a number. Oh, I did one extra. Well, I kind of saved my step. You guys have been declaring a string in here, and then the next line parsing it, doing integer.parseInt and stored it as an int. I just did it in one line. I took the JAppChampaign in here and then parsed it in here. So I just did 2 steps in one line. You can do it whichever way you feel more comfortable. This part in here you've seen. So if the number is less than 0, I added the plus plus here, and I explained that in my code before. That means add 1 to neg count. So neg count started at 0, now it's 1. And then this one, you'll see with strings, you might be a little confused by this. That's okay. You can gloss over it for now. It doesn't matter if you understand this line or not, which is the same as this line, which is the same as this line. Don't worry about that. We'll go over it later. So remember, we're on step 2. We declared I equal to 0. We said, is I less than 5? Now we're on step 2. Do everything in the curly braces. Once we finish doing everything in the curly braces, so we took in a number, we said, please enter a number. We figured out if that number was less than 0, greater than 0, equal to 0. We did something based on their response. Now we say, okay, third step in a loop. This says add 1 to I. Okay, so first step I equals 0. Second step is I less than 5. Once we're done with the body of the loop, we go back up here, hence loop around, and add 1 to I. Then we go back to step 2. We never go back to step 1. We go back to step 2. We say, is I less than 5? Well, I started as 0. We did the loop. We added 1 to I, so I is now 1. So is 1 less than 5? Yes, it is. That means do the body of the loop again. So we loop around. Once we finish that loop, we come back up here and we add 1 to I. So I was 1, now it's 2 because I plus plus, add 1 to I. I is 2. Is 2 less than 5? Yes.